rims, exhaust, and a lot of power, even more than anything you can imagine for a normal Mercedes. We are here today at the heart of BRABUS and we'll give you a full works tour here on Autogefühl. So join us for a very loud experience in a literal sense, in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! And this is the heart of the company here in Bottrop, Germany, the headquarters of BRABUS. About 200 people are working there all over the world, about 400 people because they have representatives in over 100 countries. This one here is also one of their most important products. It's the Mercedes G-Class, and you can basically do everything with it. We see a lot of models here, for example, with off-road purposes. This one here, you can see the engine gets all put out. They take the base engines for Mercedes or Mercedes AMG and then sometimes even change the amount of cylinders, but of course always tune the power. Here, by the way, is very interesting. We can see it on the inside on detail. You can see some cables hanging from the ceiling, and those are actually for a light ceiling, for a star ceiling, because the customer here in Africa want to have a star ceiling from the inside, and sometimes you can also choose from different pictures what the star should actually show you. Pretty interesting. This one here, special off-road purpose, also with carbon fiber. This is Supermassive 4x4. You can see here those portal axles which stand a little bit more outside for even bigger off-road use. Special mud or off-road tires. Probably this one will go somewhere in the desert, I would expect to do it that way. And well, this is probably the most extreme thing you can do with the G-Class. And this one here, based from a S63, so a Mercedes S-Class AMG model. And when you say here, the BRABUS 700, this always means, that the model name always says what's the horsepower figure? You can easily say, in this case, 700 horsepower. There's also a version with 800 horsepower and all-wheel drive, and that one comes close to an acceleration figure then of just over 3 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. So very extreme, of course, what you can do with this car. Therefore, you also need special tires, and they are partners with Continental, so they develop the tires for BRABUS because usually those cars, they're pretty heavy, also with the bigger engines, and then they have so much acceleration, more than is actually planned. And then you also need a special tire which can also transport this power on the road. And they have sometimes a Vmax of about 350 or even 370 kilometers an hour, wherever you could possibly drive that. And that's also a speed where a tire has to be suitable for. You can see here again the BRABUS 700. Of course, you will get the real number plate for that. But it's actually very easy to see then how much horsepower this car has. Also special BRABUS logo right there in the front. And quite often, of course, people maybe just order some single parts like this carbon fiber front splitter. This is a very famous part. And of course, bigger rims, 21-inch, maybe 22-inch. Sometimes, they're already developing now 23-inch rears. And with this G-Class 700, BRABUS 700 model, you also can see some gold at the engine. Oh, special wishes are directly fulfilled. Well, we've seen off-road G-Classes. This one here is more the street version. You can see here 23-inch rims, so pretty massive, and again a lot of carbon fiber use. BRABUS logo in the front. This here the 700 horsepower engine. There's more special things on the inside. And this is the most powerful engine, 900 horsepower V12 bi-turbo. Here, however, not as fast as the one we've seen before in the acceleration, because this one here is combined just with the rear-wheel drive of the S-Class, and then you don't get the power to the ground that cleanly, let's take it that way, but the most powerful one. Almost 1000 horsepower, wow. And special air filters here as well. And the use of gold is also pretty famous in some detailed parts. And here we can see an engine block, and what they do is they, for example, make it with more displacement, and then it comes here to be somewhat finalized. What they're doing here, by the way, is they are changing the very surface with an acid, so the oil then later can be more evenly distributed for, for the purpose that it's more durable and also can sustain more of this very high pressures. So what is really happening in detail there? You can see here there's a test purpose just for the cylinder, and there's an electronic microscope inside, and then we can see it here on the screen. This is then the surface from the inside with silicon, that's the higher part, and aluminum, this is the lower part. And they use the acid actually to even out both surfaces, and this then ensures that everything will also be working great on a long-term run. So, and here you can really see why V12 is called V12. You can see this V form, then here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on both sides. And the pistons then go inside. And interesting here in this engine workshop is that they also do so much by hand here. It's also, they have, like AMG, the principle of one man, one engine. You can see here there's the piston there, the small piston, and the piston rings, and they are cleaned by hand at first before they're put inside the piston. This is the interior workshop. You can see here. This is an Alcantara material, and you get some stitching, that you get this special structure on there, that you have, for example, a nice seat or also a special dashboard. And you can see in this interior workshop, well, you have some machines here, of course, but most is done by hand, and it's a very individual and single work. And this is the raw material. This is a roll of Alcantara. You can see it's very soft. It's really high class. It's just about what the customer wants. So if the customer wants Alcantara on the dashboard, on the seat, he or she gets Alcantara. Of course, still there are customers who want the real animal skin leather, and you can also get the quilting for that. But of course, more and more materials are evolving, which are also more eco and animal friendly, which we've also been presenting to you on Autogefühl. So you can see here, those are the original cow hides, of course, with all the negative side that come alongside. But here, also new materials. This is also special fabric. But this one is not used on cars. This one is used on a boat, because BRABUS is also involved in a yacht project. And on the outside areas, you cannot use animal skin leather because it would get bad very soon. And so you need special resistant fabrics, which you can use also on the outside parts of those yachts. You can see here also sometimes those stitches are also done automatically, but still a lot of handwork here on different workstations you have here. And for example, from the seat, this is a smart BRABUS seat, and also steering wheels. Oh, cool. This one is also a smart steering wheel, and then also again Alcantara used, because BRABUS is also about speed, performance, not really about racing, but surely about fast cars and racy cars, and that's why you also use materials that are used in the true racing sport. Well, it's not only about Mercedes and Smart, there are also the British brands here, and this also has a special story, but let me tell you more about that a little bit later. First, I want to show you that this Bentayga here is also a special tuning, for example, also with 23-inch rims, you can see here at the side. And there were no tires for this special purpose, therefore there's also again a cooperation with Continental, and they developed some 295 width tire, especially for this car. And you can see, They're almost bigger than myself. Here again, a lot of carbon fiber use, also at the side, and here at the side mirrors. And there are more British brands here. And why is that? Well, actually, BRABUS is still reserved for mainly Mercedes. The company itself was founded in 1977, and in 1999, Mercedes bought AMG. Before that, AMG and BRABUS were competitors. Now AMG is basically an inside Mercedes company, and BRABUS is still independent, still a tuner. And then they said, well, let's also do some other cars, and StarTech is actually also a BRABUS brand. For example, then for the Bentley, here for the Aston Martin, or also for Jaguar and Land Rover, because they want to basically separate that brand-wise. You can see here, this Aston Martin here, again, also front carbon fiber spoiler, special rims again, also with this copper brake calipers. In this case, 21-inch rim. Well, it also says powered by BRABUS, so you see they also start to mix the brands just a little bit, but StarTech is then the outside appearance for those brands, for the British brands. Here, for example, this Range Rover Vela also has StarTech sticker on the front, those letters. Also special 22-inch rims with StarTech logo. Special rims, you can see what they do. Just those very tiny details, that's why people go for this very vehicle. I'm not sure if this one here is really... that would be a little bit too much over the top for me, but it's really the personal preference. People can easily spend 100,000 euros or dollars here. That's what they usually do when they do like engines and rims and spoilers and interior personalizations. But sometimes people even come in and spend like 300,000 and 400,000 euros or dollars. Or just a little bit if you just say, I just want, some other set of rims and just want a regular service maybe for my Mercedes or something. So it really depends on how big your pocket is. And to show you an interior sample, this is an S-Class Cabriolet, so tuned from 630 to 900 horsepower, but on the inside also individualization with bright animal skin interior. And what's also interesting is that here the wood decor has been mixed with aluminum, giving this very special surface there. Of course, matter of preference or personal taste. By the way, here on the steering wheel, they don't always replace the logo on the steering wheel, because this is then, has a safety relevant issue, would need, further testing. Therefore, where the airbags are, they usually leave it as it is. So this car doesn't seem to end. It's a V12 Maybach S600, and you can even tune still a Maybach. By the way, in Germany we say Maybach and not Maybach. That's because in Germany we have those CH and we say Maybach. Knock. Well, extremely long. You can see this is more the presidential style, and who knows where this one will go, because some of the customers that are ordering stuff here, they want to be kept in secret, of course. Maybe they belong to some kingdom or are very rich customers, of course, who want to have their address never revealed ever. And if you take a look at the central headquarters, at the offices, there are really orders from all over the world. And when you stroll around in the workshop, but also outside, just in the parking lot, you always discover new, very unique cars. This, for example, the G63 6x6. You can see there's another axle added, and I would surely like to take this one out somewhere in the desert. Must be pretty spectacular with those special off-road tires. And I've asked some of the mechanics on the inside, and those special off-road tires, they sometimes have just a tire of about 60 kilograms. But BRABUS doesn't only tune new cars, they are also a classic partner, so they also take care about classic cars. And this one here, the 300 SL, one of the most iconic cars ever built, is worth at least $1 million. So those classic cars are worth more than anything you could update on a new car. Here in the classic workshop, you find cars that are basically better than they were before. So they are renewed here, but they always keep the original paint, keep the original parts, because that's also important to keep the price or the value of this car. And just in this rather small workshop, everything together is worth about $20 million or 20 million euros. And this one here, the 300 SL Gullwing Door, is the most expensive single piece. For this one, you also have to pay a little bit more than for the convertible. This one here, just about 2 million euros or $2 million, especially in the shape we find it here. It really looks better than new. The paint, also the interior. And another interesting aspect is you've recently seen it with the Jaguar E-Type, where they put an electric motor in an E-Type. And well, I've asked them about that, and they say they already get a demand for that. So customers demand it because some might want to drive a very cool oldtimer, great style and character, but don't want to, mess with, leaking oil and taking care of the car and screwing yourself, something you should probably do, and just want to enjoy the riding of the car and then have an electric motor on the inside. But Brabus does not want to do that yet. They say we are, keeping it classic, keeping it as original as possible. But I think the demand will shift this also, maybe in the next couple of years. Or what do you think? Oldtimers or vintage cars and electric, does that work? I think, yes, it's a good combination, but maybe you think otherwise. Well, starting with the most powerful and the biggest cars, going over to the vintage cars, the most expensive ones, ending here today with our tour with the smallest, least expensive and also least powerful ones, because there's, first of all, this joint venture with Smart and Brabus, official works corporation, where they build directly in the plant. And then you can also put your Smart here for further evaluation, let's take it that way, because, for example, there's the so-called ultimate version. Then you take your official Brabus Smart, like a Mercedes AMG, here again, and they make it the Smart Brabus, so to say, maybe with more individualization on exterior color. We see a bright blue car, for example, or this green Hell Magno car, and also more stuff on the interior. Of course, it will change when Smart goes all electric. Then they will also adapt to this development, because then the normal combustion engines won't be built anymore for the Smart. And also in future there will be the Mercedes EQ models, where, for example, also some, maybe electric tuning will be done. And of course the same, with spoilers and rims and stuff and interior individualization. This won't change then with the electrification. I hope you enjoyed our tour here today. Give us some feedback. What would you actually like best? Which one is your favorite car? And what do you think about the whole organization here? Of course, it's a little bit, playground of the rich, because you really need a lot of money to be able to change all of this and to pay for all the handwork that is done here.